So guys, married, it's done, honeymoon's done.
Give me a high five, for real. Give me another one.
How's married life treating you?
Do you want to go?
Married life is amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. But to be honest, guys, let me keep it all the way 100 buck. For us, nothing has changed. Like literally the day after we got married. Remember? What? You feel different?
I'd say there's been
news?
There's been some lovely positive changes. I'll be heading off to work. Lydia will be like, "Oh, I want to make you some food. I've got to make some food for my husband." And then also, I think the funny thing is that I feel like everybody else respects our relationship more.
Oh my gosh.
So when Lydia's like, "Oh, I've got to go talk to my husband," or I'm like, "Oh, I need to go sort something out with my wife," I feel like our family
they respect it. They're like, "Oh, your
Yeah,
husband.
oh, your
Okay,
husband.
go. Please, go. Please, run to your husband." I love it.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
But yeah, okay, so that's the change is a positive change.
Praise God.
Guys, I'm cooking. Who would have thought? I would have thunk it.
Praise God. You're silly.
So before wedding planning, we both agreed that we wanted a small wedding. That's kind of a vision. I never wanted a huge 500 people wedding. I didn't want 1,000 people there. I wanted it intimate. I wanted the people who were most closest to us, dearest, to be there. But honestly, in hindsight, I don't know, babe, but I would have just had a big wedding. Honestly, I would have just had the 500 because
Maybe not 5, but yeah, it
was so hard. It was so hard.
And I think the difficult thing as well, obviously I just said the numbers, but
yeah,
in having 200 people, I mean, to most people that's a massive wedding. To me, I could fill my family with 200 people.
Yeah.
In fact, we could have just invited both
family
of our
alone.
and it would have been 200 people. So,
yeah.
But either way, it's 200's at that cusp whereby it's big enough that everyone. It's big enough that you might feel a way that you weren't invited.
Yeah.
But it's not so big that you can actually invite everybody.
Yeah.
So in us wanting to have an intimate wedding, it was quite intimate and small, but it ended up being a real headache. Like the amount of time that we spent
speaking on the phone trying to
working out the guest list, working out the table plan, moving people around.
Yeah.
Somebody drops out, trying to fill other people in, trying to even know who to call.
Yeah.
Because if you call one person, then you got to invite their wife or their husband.
Yeah,
or,
of course.
Or their son or whatever.
Whereas if we just had a wedding of 350,
exactly,
it would have just allowed that extra room of just, to be able to have a few people extra,
And that's a good point. Like if I'd give any advice to somebody in terms of booking your wedding venue, I'd say book a venue that's bigger than you
what
need.
You want. Yeah.
Because then you can have free spaces, and if things come up or whatever, you can deal with it. Whereas we booked a wedding venue
200
packed to the max.
Yeah, and
it was literally like. And then it became a whole thing. Like if somebody drops out, then all right, there's an opportunity to shift somebody in. And
but if you bring somebody in, then what's that +1?
The whole thing just ended up being or even aside from that, my mum sees somebody or wants to invite a cousin or whatever the case is, right? And it's like at the point that the wedding started, there was already no space for additional people.
Yeah.
And so I definitely advise get a venue that's bigger than you need.
Yeah.
So that you can always accommodate for extra people if and when, or as and when your budget and your person allows for it.
Yeah. Babe, is there anything that surprised you about getting married? Because for me, I want to say the bureaucracy around it, like all of especially in the beginning, like the beginning stages, these marriage of notices and
notice of marriage.
Look at that, I still don't even know it. And where the rules as to where you can get married, there's just so many rules as to those rules. There's so many rules that you have to stick by. You can't just pick a random church to get married in. You can't just pick a pretty church to get married in. You can't just randomly get married.
Well, that's the thing. Basically, we got married we picked the venue first, and we didn't realize that you can't just get married in a church wherever you want, basically, and that you need to be like a member of the parish or have lived there or were born there or whatever
or have a connection, like a family
or some
connection.
sort of connection, which we didn't have. So obviously when we booked the place, we weren't actually expecting to have the wedding ceremony in the church.
Yeah.
We
weren't actually expecting to have the wedding ceremony in Morden Hall,
where we ended up having it. And part of the reason behind that was, I know a lot of people personally in London. Lydia knows quite a few people as well, and it was just a challenge. Like, I knew that we couldn't fit everybody in the reception venue, so the plan was to have a much bigger church wedding where we could invite loads of people and then have a smaller amount of people at the actual reception. But it didn't end up working that way at all. In fact, we had less people at the church, or at the what do you call it, the civil ceremony, I guess, I guess it was a church ceremony in the end. We made it church, but even that was a whole hullabaloo, like in terms of what you're allowed to do and the laws of the land and all that type of stuff. So I think we just took a lot of that for granted when we booked the place.
I agree, husband.
Thanks, wife. If I'm to give somebody some advice about getting married, I'd say do your research, do your Googles, because do your Googles about the venue, do your Googles about what legal requirements there are, do your Googles, just make sure you are very well informed. Like, as we said, we were just making up our budget, really. You need to be well informed. Do your Googles, work out like how much. If you're thinking about this kind of venue, go and do your research, work out how much those venues cost, work out how much the food is going to cost. You really need to make sure that you're well informed. I think, it works for us, but we sort of wanted to get married as a priority, and everything else fell after that.
Yeah.
And that made planning and preparing things actually quite difficult, because we weren't so intentional. Or rather, we didn't really appreciate the repercussions of some of the decisions we were making when we made them.
Yeah.
So, one thing everybody wants to know about is costs and how all of that stuff worked out. I think initially Lydia and I were like super naive about everything.
Oh gosh, I don't even.
We were just like, we want to buy a house. It's going to cost X amount, and therefore we've got this much saved. The wedding needs to cost blah, right? And the amount that we wanted just wasn't realistic. In fact, in the end, I think the amount that we initially budgeted for probably was just food and the venue and nothing else, right? I remember it was funny. We met with Sandra right after we got engaged. We were telling her about it, and Sandra was sort of just smiling and nodding and saying, it might be a bit challenging, but I knew the whole time, in retrospect, she was looking at us like, there's no damn way. You're crazy. Yeah, there's no way you're getting a wedding for that cost with all the things you want. So I think we were sort of rudely, we received a rude awakening. Like, reality really slapped us in the face. We
thought in an ideal world we want to get married and this is what it's gonna have to be. But it wasn't, because the venue is what it is. And the dress is what it is. Okay, the dress is something that maybe you can like compromise on, you can get a cheaper dress. But a venue, that's the cost. Caterer, the cost is the cost. Like, you can't change these numbers. So I think, first of all, you need to go into the more realistic number. That's what I'd advise. Like, go into the realistic number. Obviously, be flexible, be somebody who's able to change ideas as you. Babe, you agree? Do you think?
I mean, the thing about the cost as well, is that personally, I was surprised by the cost of the flowers, and like the interior design and stuff like that. Like, I just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And I think if we ever like got in a whatever about the costs, was that I just felt like, are we gonna like review and have a discussion about like, right, these flowers are kind of punchy, do you get what I'm saying?
How beautiful were those flowers?
No, they were beautiful. I think if I'm honest, it was more like, we'd like go to the venue, we'd look at stuff, and then it'll be like, oh, you know what, I think it would be nice if we had this lighting, or you know what, I think it would be really nice if we just add this here, or we add that there. And all I'm thinking about is, that's another. But I felt like in me saying that, I'm now being bad vibes, because obviously
it was
this is a bunch of women discussing how beautiful they want the place to be, and me talking about, I mean, me talking about the pounds of it is me being bad vibes. But at the same time, I'm like, well, we can either discuss it now, or we commit to spending X amount of money, and then in 2-3 months time, when we're actually paying the invoice, that's when we're going to discuss it. So I think initially there was a bit of friction there, I'm not gonna lie, but I think as the time went through, and as we communicated more with each other, that really helped. And I have to say, just in general, like as a way to start your marriage, planning a wedding together is almost like it's a good, not quite test, but it's a good way of really actually having to get to work together on something that's so emotive. You know, by the grace of God, like this is just the first of many like
projects that we'll be working on together.
We're going to be that are happening in our life journey. So, you know, planning a wedding together is a great start to that. And yeah, I guess we learned a bit more about each other, learned a bit more about how to manage each other. And
I think you also learn how you want to approach certain subjects. Like you learn how to say things in a way that gets your message understood, because it's not every day just coming and bulldozing because it has to be because I said so. Like that's not an adequate answer, you know. You need to find ways of communicating what it is and why that's important to you, and also having a list of priorities, because it's not everything that's important. It can't be everything that's important to you, because unless your money is long and it's unlimited, you have to have like compromise. Maybe top 3. So for me, that was the flowers, how I looked, non-negotiable how I looked, the flowers non-negotiable, and also alcohol non-negotiable, at least for me. Like I wanted our guests to have an amazing time. So to me, there had to be an open bar. Yeah. And then I don't know, what were your 3 non-negotiables?
3 priorities. It's a bit hard to say, because I think for me it was just important that the people that I really wanted to be there were there, and were there at the right times. Because again, part of the challenge was with Malden Hall specifically, where the ceremony takes place, there's only room for 120. Then it moves up to 150 for the reception, and then it moves up to 200. So obviously you're having to tier this out. And so for me, it was really important that, you know, the people that I really wanted to be at particular moments were there, which was actually really challenging, because I just know a lot of people. To be honest. I just know a lot of people. So,
and we wanted a small wedding.
I think both of us took for granted how emotive the day was going to be to everybody else, and so we found, especially towards the latter stages, and as the days were building up, that we had to like manage a lot of friends and a lot of family, like people who you hadn't invited. There was a lot of, or people that your parents might want to invite but they couldn't because there wasn't enough space, or friends that were like, right, you didn't invite me, and it's like, the space is a bit techie.
Managing emotions is like a huge part of wedding planning that they just don't tell you about. Babe, do you remember that time when I was on the phone from like 2 p.m. until 9? It was like good
back to back
solid 8 hours of phone calls. And that's when I say managing expectations, and that's managing people's just managing how everybody feels, making sure that everybody feels good, everybody's excited, everybody's looking forward. You don't want to offend anybody, but you still want what you want.
Because as much as it's our big day,
it's also
my mum's big day, it's my dad's big day, it's her mum's big day, it's her dad's big day, it's
my brother's big day.
You get what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, like, there's a lot of things to manage that you've kind of taken for granted. So even as silly as like we had to, or not had to, but I took my dad over to see Malden Hall beforehand, just so that he felt a bit more comfortable about it, because he was starting to get annoyed about the fact that he couldn't invite as many people as he wanted to the wedding, and he was like, what is this venue you've picked anyway? And so, like, you know, almost just managing people's emotions, managing people's expectations, and in the end it all worked out well by the grace of God, but it was definitely a lot of work.
Have people around you that are going to support you, because it is just, honestly, guys, it's hood. Okay, I'll tell you right now, it's the hood. Wedding plan. Wedding planning for me personally. Yeah. I just thought it was just so. I was emotionally unbalanced, guys. I was. 1 minute I was cryzilla. I was just crying all the time because it's like you'll be having a good day, things are going well, and then suddenly, bam! Something out of nowhere just comes to disrupt the whole thing. And you're thinking, wow, okay, so I have to take this in and I have to just move on. Cool. Having people to support you, people that you can vent to, people you can rant to, people who will just listen, you know. I think it's really, really important to have a great support system, because it is an emotional labor. It is a lot of time that you spend for just this one. It's just one day, I know, but you want the day to be as perfect as it can. And so having people who support you through those moments when it doesn't feel so good, and just know that yes, you're planning a wedding and it's going to be the best day of your life ever, but doesn't mean that you need to pretend that every day leading up to that is the best day ever. Like you're right to have a bad day. Keeping it real, keeping it 100, that's what we do out here. One thing that didn't quite work out for me on the day, and it's ironic because, babe, remember every time we spoke to someone, they'd be like, just try and enjoy the day, things are gonna go wrong. Yeah. And I'm like, God forbid, what do you mean? Like, why are you people willing things to go wrong? But let me tell you, something's gonna go wrong. It has to. It always does. Like, it just does. And for me, unfortunately, was a huge element that was missing was a part of the decor. And I think it's a bit of a tough one because I look back at our wedding day and I have so many fond memories, and it's like such a beautiful day, literally stunning day. I get to marry the love of my life, my husband. But at the same time, I have a little bit of a niggling feeling when I think back, because the things that were most important for me were the flowers, number one. Tick. Those flowers were beautiful. I've always said I want you to walk into my wedding and just see loads of flowers. And you walked in and Sandy had put together this amazing arrangement of flowers, and it was just stunning, honestly. But the other part of the dream was drapes. So I really wanted these gorgeous drapes kind of hanging from the ceiling, and it was gonna have some fairy lights. It was just gonna be stunning. So you could imagine my shock when I walked into the room. At my heart, I was like, this is stunning, this is amazing, this is beautiful, but where are the drapes? Where are the drapes? And that was something that was missing in the wedding, and I think about it all the time, I can't lie. I think about it often, and I just think the advice that I'd give to that, I guess, is that when you're booking, whoever you're booking, make sure, triple confirm with pictures that they can do exactly what it is that they say they're going to do. So is this a service that they've offered before? Can they show you images so that you can actually confirm that, yes, this is exactly what I'm going to get? And I think that is what was lacking. If I was to say something that maybe I regret, was not being able to have had the drapes the way I envisioned and the way I wanted them. In fact, we didn't have them at all. And that's something that went wrong on the day. They should have been there. But I guess, as people say, things are going to go wrong, and it's really just how you take it and how you move on from it. And I feel like the wedding was beautiful. The wedding was stunning. And as much as it would have been great to have the drapes, I feel like we still got...
It didn't take away from
the day. But it makes me sad. I can't lie.
I know it does.
It makes me sad. It does.
I'm sorry about that. I mean, for me personally, I think probably the thing that I'll take away from the day is that I felt like I knew too much about what was supposed to happen on the day. And I kind of regret that. Now, obviously, it's quite difficult not to know because you're planning a wedding, right? You plan the wedding. But the problem was, once you know what's supposed to happen,
you can see that it's missing.
Yeah, you're then conscious of when things go wrong, which then stops you from really being able to enjoy the moment properly. So right from the beginning, Lydia came down like half an hour after we were meant to start. So immediately, as soon as the day started,
we were behind.
In my mind, I'm already like, all right, timelines are being squashed, and then it means like when someone's giving a speech that's taking too long, or when someone's saying a prayer that's going on for a while,
you're like
I'm just feeling like we don't have much time. We took photos. like the photos, as much as I was enjoying them, all I kept thinking was, as in the group photos with family and stuff, all I kept thinking was, we don't have time, we don't have time, we don't have time.
Yeah.
Rather than enjoying the moment and saying, oh my gosh, there's cousin so and so, let's take this great photo. So I don't know how avoidable it is, but my advice to people, that's probably another bit of advice I'd give someone, but my advice is, as much as possible, try not to get too much into the detail of the day, because that's the easiest way to get disappointed if and when something goes wrong or doesn't go to plan.
And I think what's important is having someone on the day, like, to help organize. You don't want to, the bride and groom should not be the people organizing that day. Like, on the day, you shouldn't be the people who are instructing the day. Like, having Sandra and Sanyu and the whole team. We had an event. Shout out to our events team. Right?
Shout out to our East African sisters.
Shout out to the East African crew who came through. Every single one. You guys were amazing. Thank you so much for the events team who were there to help the running order of the day, because you don't want to be the bride and groom and you be the person who's looking at what's happening next. Like, that's how you can't be in the moment, you know? You wouldn't be in the moment.
Definitely.
Yeah. Take pics, but don't take too many pics also. Like, go back. Remember, I actually had to stop. I had to stop us taking pictures and videos. I was like, it's enough!
It's too much.
It's enough!
I actually need to enjoy my
I need to go back in there, and I want to go in there, and I want to be with the party, and I want to be with them, you know?
Yeah.
So make sure it's your day, and you want to record it, and you want to capture it, but make sure you actually enjoy it itself. Like, I hate that I'm saying that to people.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because obviously we had 3 outfit changes. And that made everything a bit hectic, for want of a better term. It's ironic because, again, when I look back at it and I look back at the pictures and the videos and stuff like that, like, it's lit, and all of those were important for different reasons, if that makes any sense. But it also meant that we spent a lot of time getting dressed, a lot of time away from our guests and the party and stuff like that, and I wouldn't say I regret it, but I just wish I'd actually had a bit more time to spend with the guests themselves. Yeah. But everyone had a good time. I had a good time. I saw people, even if I didn't get to speak to them. And obviously we've caught up and stuff since then, so I'm very grateful for that.
I just wish your wedding day could be 48 hours long.
Yeah.
Like, if it could be 48 hours, that'd be like a perfect amount of time. Yeah. Because by the time you've got ready and done the ceremony and reception and dinner and speeches and dancing, the day just goes on speed 8 fast forward.
Try that on Netflix. It's too fast. That's how the day went, for me at least. You been? Yeah, no, big facts. It just, I mean, everyone always says, like, so.
Soak up the day, it's going to go really quickly, so on and so forth. There's a reason why people say it, because, like, really literally, things just pass you by like that. And, like, I guess you're the main event for the day, right? So everyone keeps coming up to you, and it's like, you just need to take the time to actually enjoy all of that happening, because it goes really quickly.
One tip I'd give, babe, do you remember we made a pact before the wedding day? Do you remember? Yeah, we made a pact.
Was James Heath that said that, no? Or was it somebody else?
I take TikTok.
Maybe it was TikTok.
I think I saw on TikTok that like, wedding tips. We made a pact that we were going to be left and right like this the whole day, stuck together. There was nowhere that he was going that I wasn't trying to go. There was nowhere I was going that he wasn't trying to go. And it just made the day a lot more special for the two of us, because at least we got to literally genuinely spend the whole day together, because I can understand and I can see exactly how you can end up even spending the day without your partner, because there's so many different people who've come to see you, come to see him. You might not know them. But we resolved to stay together and make sure that we were there, because also it was just so new. Like, literally everything that was happening, I'm like, babe, can you believe it? And every so often I'm like, babe. And
I've got to say, one thing that I think we did very well for the wedding on the day was that I felt like we had
moments for ourselves.
Moments for ourselves,
regardless of people being
so there's
there.
Like a whole fanfare going on. There's loads of people taking pictures and videos and this, that, and the other.
But we were actually,
but it's like, it was about us, and you know, I don't know, it's a bit corny, but like, you can see it in the videos and stuff, like us kissing and stuff. Like, it was important for us to connect and have that moment, aside from the show that
Of it
everybody
all.
else was getting, for one of
And that was really nice, actually, babe. There was moments where it literally felt like it was just me and you.
Yeah, big facts. Big facts. In fact,
And then I look
yeah.
back in the videos and I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
there's
like
so many
you
people.
Praise God.
Amen.
This is my first time being
Oh,
on live,
let me even. Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Okay, I'm recording it. Hey guys, so hi. We are literally in the middle of filming the wedding series Q&A, and I thought, I'm here with my husband. I thought it might be worth you guys just asking me the questions like directly. I wasn't even planning on doing it, but I look too damn cute.
So it's like questions about the wedding day itself, the whole wedding process.
First question: how long did it take to plan your wedding?
Well, we got engaged
in
December.
End of December. We actually got married exactly 9 months.
Oh, to the date.
Yeah, 9 months to the date. And it wasn't planned to be that way. It just happened to be that way. But we got married 9 months to the date of getting married. So
literally 9 months.
yeah, so it took 9 months.
Took 9 months.
9 months.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question: how was it writing vows? Did you have vows?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that's a
did.
good
Oh,
question.
babe, did you know that I wrote my vows at 3 a.m. in the morning the night before?
Yeah, I did. You told me. I mean, I didn't write my vows that much longer before.
I wrote my vows, but do you know what? Writing vows, it was easy. It was, okay, I would say it was hard and easy at the same time. Hard because of like English words. Does that make sense? English is my third language, you guys. Like I
She's
had
gonna say that.
English is my third language. Like trying to find the English words for how I feel sometimes is not easy. But I know exactly how I feel about you, and I know how you make me feel, and I know how I love you, and I know there's so many things that I'm certain of when it comes to you that writing my vows, light work.
Praise God.
Apart from the English words of it all.
Praise God. How did I find writing my vows? Not too difficult, to be honest. Like I had quite a bit like Lydia said. Like I was pretty sure of what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And so that's what I said. I think for me it was important that it was personal.
Yeah.
And what's funny, if I'm honest with you, and this is to the people on the live as well, like I was not expecting the words of my speech to be in the video at all.
Yeah.
So when I was writing my vows and when I was writing my speech, it was me to you, conscious that those in the room would be hearing it as well.
Yeah.
It never even occurred to me that like a whole heap of people on the internet were going to be watching and listening to it. But no, it was a good process. Like I said, I knew how I felt, so it was just writing it down, really.
Yeah, I love that.
What was the most stressful and the least stressful part
of planning the wedding?
Yeah.
I know what's most stressful for me.
What's the most stressful for you, babe?
People, like, just honestly, like the numbers, like I struggled so much, like in terms of who to invite, how to invite. I know I offended bare people, like loads of people were kind of annoyed with me, like, but at the end of the day, it'll be all right. It was even like family members. Again, I'm Nigerian. The culture in Nigeria is kind of like everyone's invited to the wedding, like, so it was quite difficult, like sometimes saying to aunties, unfortunately one of my aunties passed away. Not a blood relative, but really close family friend. She passed away a few weeks or a few months before the wedding, and so obviously at her funeral I'm seeing all these like family and family friends who
see you at the wedding.
Yeah, who literally said,
I don't think so.
Oh, what? The wedding's in London? Don't worry, I'll sneak in. I'm like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
So like, I think that was the biggest challenge. Or sometimes you just see friends you haven't seen in a while, and it's like really under normal circumstances, I would completely understand why they would be offended that I haven't invited them to the wedding. And I've been to bare people's weddings as well. So there were even people whose weddings I've been to who I couldn't invite. And it was just a bit techie, so that was definitely the most challenging bit of it for me.
The next one is: does it feel any different from when you were dating, being married?
Personally, I don't think it feels any different, like at all. I remember waking up the next day after we got married, and we had a little mini moon. First of all, we had a mini moon, then we had a honeymoon. But during our little mini moon, we woke up the next day, and I was like, babe, nothing feels different. Like, it feels exactly the same. But I think that's just more of a testament to our relationship and how we are and how we interact and how we've been. Like, it was literally just the next stage. Hence why we didn't want to get married in like 2 years time or 3 years, or God knows how long some people have their engagements for. Like, each person is different. But for us, well, that was shady.
Hella shady for... But it's all right.
For us, we wanted to get married ASAP, because like that's just how we feel, and that's how we feel about each other. Yeah. So for me, it didn't feel any different. How about you?
To me, I wouldn't say being married felt different, but what did feel different was, it's gonna sound a bit corny, but being able to say my wife. Like beforehand, whenever I'd be talking about Lydia, I'd be like, oh, my girlfriend or my fiance or my partner or whatever. And like I remember it frustrating me, especially like in my old job. It used to frustrate me because I felt like, because I used to work in the media industry, so I'd tell people about what it is that we do and what it is that Lydia does, but I felt like when I said my girlfriend, they'd be like, oh. It's like, yeah. Whereas now I feel like when I say my wife, like people respect the term wife a lot more than, so it's nice.
We've been rinsing it. Listen, we wake up, we're like, good morning, husband.
Yeah, hey wife. It's nice to say.
We've been rinsing it.
How was the wedding planning process? Did you get a wedding planner or did you do it yourself?
So, wedding planning process, we had a wedding planner. Shout out to Sandra, shout out to Sanu. Shout out to our events team on the day as well. Absolutely recommend you getting a wedding planner. Like, I don't understand people who are able to do it without a wedding planner, and then have to go to work as well, and then have to like do everything else that life is throwing at you, as well as planning a wedding. That's intense. It's giving a lot. And I've got to say, the biggest pattern for us was that the wedding planner was also my best man's wife. So that just made everything... It just made everything a lot more seamless. Shout out to George, shout out to Sandra. God bless the two of you, because you really, really helped so much with the wedding. So they did.
Yeah, big God bless to both of you.
How long did you guys date before you got married?
Before we got married or before we got engaged? I mean, before we got
both.
It was just under 2 years engaged and 2.5 years married.
Not married.
As in, we got married 2.5 years after we started dating, and we got engaged just under 2 years.
About 2 years, yeah.
Did you have a traditional Luo Yoruba wedding?
Oh, the way you said that, Gokan. Yoruba.
Yeah, Yoruba.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you want to go?
We had a traditional Luo wedding. We've had the year, which is obviously the bride is getting. I don't know. In Kenyan culture, it's the bride's day.
Yeah, I mean, in
I don't know about you
most
guys.
cultures, it's the bride's day, no?
I know. Sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes some cultures, it's like the groom is the star.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I think.
I mean, well,
I think. Guys on live, help me out. Is that true?
but either way,
Come back to that one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
But either way, we've had the
year.
We've had the IE.
Yeah.
At least in Yoruba culture and in most African cultures, like it's you do things by the bride's tradition.
But the bride's tradition, yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't make sense for us to have a traditional Yoruba wedding because.
The bride, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so
keeping it all the way back as well, I think we have to be grateful for both of our sets of parents. Like, we literally have the easiest going parents that ever existed in this life. Because in Kenyan tradition, there's two parts of a traditional wedding. So there's the Ye, then there's Nyombo, and then you get married after. So for us, it's a little bit tricky because this year in Kenya, there was the elections. We have a new president, and for that reason, we were meant to have the traditional, obviously, before the white wedding. However, my parents have been genuinely so lovely and lenient and so kind and understanding to allow us to do the white. So we did half of the traditional, did the white wedding, and then we're going to do our traditional after. So guys, we're still yet to get married again.
Yeah, there's still
we have one more wedding to go, literally. But if it wasn't for like the openness and and understanding of our parents.
Yeah.
We basically,
and just to clarify, in terms of there being elections, obviously whenever there's elections throughout most parts of Africa, unfortunately,
turmoil.
It leads to like a lot of political and social instability, and
it's just
we just didn't want to like be inviting loads of people to Kenya at a time when it might be a bit hot.
Quick fires.
Yeah, how many guests did you have?
200
in total.
Oh yes, good.
150 at reception, 120 at the ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you choose the date?
We just did. Oh no, I know how we chose the date.
Go on.
Well, we chose the date based on the pricing.
Yeah.
Because listen, let me tell you what. To get married on a Monday is a third of the price as what it is to get married on a Saturday. And getting married is like probably one of the most expensive things that you're ever gonna need to do or have to do if you want to do.
At least for a one day.
At least for a 1 day situation, you know.
Where was the honeymoon?
Where was the honeymoon?
We don't talk about our honeymoon.
Don't we? I mean, you already told them where we were going on honeymoon.
Did I?
Bad times. I mean, I don't care if they know, unless you care if they know.
Oh yeah, they do know. I think I even
That's
asked
what I'm
them.
saying.
We
You
went
asked
to
them,
Zanzibar. What am I talking about?
I'm like, what's all the secrecy?
The
about?
secrecy is the fact that our honeymoon is not something that is ever going to live online.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's just it was so important for us to be able to have like time together, alone, genuinely enjoying each other, enjoying our surroundings. It was buff.
It was.
Jesus.
Oh,
like, there's so many, the private story, no, that's what I'll say. Yeah. Private story, no.
And even then, the private story didn't really see much. I think it was quite crucial for both of us. One, I think since we've been together, this is our first. Every time it's your birthday, we sort of, your first birthday we didn't film at all.
Wonderful. My favourite.
First, your 28th birthday.
Yeah.
Your 29th, that was Antigua.
Oh, Antigua.
We filmed a vlog for that.
Yeah.
And then this birthday, but I'd say this birthday.
Oh yeah, guys, I turned 30 in secret. I forgot to say.
Yeah,
like that's how silent my.
She turned 30. She turned 30 during our honeymoon.
I turned 30 during our honeymoon. Like that's how I was so determined to just make sure that I was immersed in the moment of our honeymoon. Like you go on one honeymoon, we have tons of cute pictures, we have tons of cute videos, but it's just like it wasn't for anybody else's consumption besides us.
I think that's the important thing. Like it was for us. We didn't really want to spend the time filming.
Yeah.
And also like we didn't really want to. Well, I can speak for myself, and I think it's the same way for Lydia. If I'm completely honest, I didn't want to spend time during our honeymoon trying to show other people
how good or
what
whatever.
We were up to, because our honeymoon was supposed to be about the two of us, not about anybody
the rest of the
else.
world.
And I said with all due respect, shout out my mum. She's not seen any videos or pictures of where we went. Not that I wouldn't send it to her, but again, it was more about just us enjoying the moment rather than it being something for everybody else. So lots of great memories though.
Cool. How did you guys meet?
Go and watch Dot's
short answer.
Go and watch Dot's vlog. It tells you how we met. Go into Dot's channel.
What, her Q&A?
No, her bridal shower.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Sorry, my bridal shower on her channel. If you want to see how we met, go to Dot's channel. Yeah, should. Because we was one of the questions.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the questions. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how we met, but yeah, that's how we met. It's two different stories, but praise God.
Favorite part of the wedding for you, Damini?
Favorite part of the wedding was... Boy, that's a good question. I think it's between moments of the party, because the
party was lit.
The party was lit, but I really enjoyed the ceremony. Yeah. Shout out to my sister Zoe and the choir. They made that lit. I really honestly, I enjoyed the whole day. I can't really say I had a favorite part. I don't know if I had a favorite part. I can't pick a moment out of the whole thing. There were lots of great moments. Yeah, there were lots of great moments.
Me too.
And yours, Lydia?
Honestly, I'm not the babe who's even dreamt of a wedding day, so the whole thing just even happening, I was like, boy, this is a moment. All of it. There's no one particular moment. I think if anything, just me and you, babe, I was so confident in that. It felt very much like just personal. Me and you.
Again, I think there were lots of moments where it was we made sure we stole those moments for ourselves. And it wasn't
proper kisses as well, remember?
Yeah, listen, any opportunity.
Oh boy, we were snogging.
But aside from the snogs and that, it was I remember times when they'd be like, oh, let's take this picture or let's take this video. All the groomsmen, bridesmaids all do this faff. And then whilst everyone's busy doing whatever. I'm
It's
here
just
like, Lydia,
me.
how's it going? You're
Yeah,
right. But
yeah.
we got to have those kind of personal moments despite the fanfare. So
Yeah. One more.
Okay. Alright.
And then we shall wrap it up.
Let's have a look. Living arrangements. We're not going to go into that.
It's just nosy. Like, just wait. Like, literally, just wait.
Counselling.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Absolutely.
Because
We're about to start ours next Wednesday.
yeah, exactly. Shout out to my brother Nathan Fox, one of my groomsmen. I was best man at his wedding,
Yeah.
and he was best man at George's wedding. But every time I asked it, he kept saying like, "Bro, make sure you get some marital counselling or some pre-marriage counselling or whatever the case is." Because, and what he always says is that, you know, when you get married to somebody, you're agreeing to spend the rest of your life with them, but they've already had a whole lot of life
Ahead of you.
beforehand.
Yeah.
That you never saw. So it's like you kind of it's really helpful to have some counselling to get you both on the
shape
same page, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
And obviously shout out to Nathan and that they met when they were like 18 or so he's saying that based on 18 years. We met when
I was 27.
30. Yeah, exactly. So I was 20. I just turned 29 I just turned 29 when we met. So I mean, to be fair, we know each other very well.
That's a shout out to lockdown.
Yeah, shout out to lockdown. But still, there's a lot of life that we both missed. So,
yeah.
And then also like a big piece of advice everybody gave us at the wedding. And ironically, my uncle got married like 4 days after our wedding.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, was like, put God first.
Put God first.
Everyone keeps saying
Everyone kept saying God first.
And I don't want to be so arrogant as to not listen to
that
people's advice. Like, if that's what everybody's saying. So we signed up to the marriage course done by Alpha HTB in London. So that starts in a couple weeks time. And
it's meant to be premarital, but there was no courses for us. It was important for us to do it in person. Like, there was a lot of premarital courses that were being done online prior to the wedding, but we were really set on it being like somewhere we went to and we actively saw people and spoke to people in person. So we actually went for premarital counselling after our marriage.
What we've got is just marriage.
It's just marriage course. Oh, it's just a marriage counselling.
It's a marriage course, but it's like an early
marriage.
They also put on premarital courses. But obviously we're married now, so it's a bit late for that.
Yeah.
Praise God.
But also, I think separate to premarital counselling, babe, we've both had, this is very different, but we've both had therapy separately.
That's true.
Like, very
that's true.
Your therapy is you, my therapy is me.
That's
but true. I think that's also really helped us kind of come, like, understand it in a way. With a little bit less, a little bit.
I think it
baggage is there.
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, it's just natural. But I do think that, like, we were able to. I'd done therapy before I met you, right? So,
you'd worked on some things that would have been maybe detrimental to us, and I definitely worked on a ton of things that would have been detrimental to us.
Praise God.
Like, facts. So I feel like even just having therapy separately, that was almost a little bit of counselling ahead of us just getting married. And I'm really looking forward to our marriage course, because it'll be literally you and I, two separate individuals coming together and literally trying to see how that works out and how to plan and how to speak to each other, how to argue properly, how to all of these things, It's important.
Big facts.
Really important. I'm looking forward to it, though I'm sure it's going to be hard though at the same time.
To be honest,
kind of like therapy.
I'd rather it be hard and have a great solution than it be easy and then we deal with the problems later.
After, so, facts.
Not as any problems like that, but you know my point.
Yeah, facts.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sitting down with us, listening. I hope this is helpful to you. Like, obviously, it was our first time getting married. Hopefully, it's our last time.
It is. God willing, it's going to be our last time.
Let's not even say hopefully.
Yeah.
It's definitely our last time getting married. But hopefully, you can take some of the learnings from our experience and use that when you have your own. And if not, I hope this is just
enjoyable.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. Well, see you next time. Sayonara. Is it sayonara?
I think you'd be like, well, see you next time. But yeah, no, really.
Yeah, no, really. Like, peace out, innit? So,
peace out. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.